This week we're going to make Rowan berry jelly. Now what we need to make our jelly is a jar to put the jelly in when we're finished, some sugar. Now I like this sugar because it's got added pectin from apples, and that helps the jelly to set because berries typically don't have very much in, and so you need to add other things to make it set properly. We need to have some scales for weighing what we find. We need to have a jug for collecting the juice and for measuring. A saucepan for boiling the berries and then for boiling the jam. You need to have some kind of gauze. I like to use a stocking. It needs to be a fine stocking, or you can use a jam making gauze. We need to have some scissors for cutting our berries off the tree, something to put our berries in, and one more thing, we need some berries. Let's go and see what we can find. Now as you come to collect the berries for your Rowan berry jelly, you need to remember this is a really important source of food for their birds in the area. These berries can stay on the tree all through until January. So when you collect your berries, make sure that you don't strip the whole tree. When you collect your berries, try and get an even spread from all over the tree and a few other trees as well. And as you collect your berries, do a whole bunch at once and snip it just above the berries so that you still have part of the stalk. You can sort the rest of it out later. About 600 grams of Rowan berries should make about a litre of Rowan berry jelly. So let's head back to the kitchen and see how much we've got. Now when you come back from collecting your berries, the first thing you need to do is figure out which ones are the good ones and which ones are the bad ones. That's what we're going to do now. As you take them off the stalks, just check them and see which ones are rotten or have holes in them, because these ones are the ones we don't want. Other than that, you just pick them off and then discard the stalks. If a few little bits of stalk get in, it doesn't matter. Now here you can see on these ones you've got some rotten berries, and on this one you can see we've got some berries that have had insects burrow into them, so we don't want those. But the others, they look alright. Once you've finished removing the stalks from the berries, it's time to weigh them. Let's see how much we've got. Taking into account the weight of the container, we've got about 350 grams of berries, so hopefully that should make at least half a litre. Now it's time to wash the berries. I like to use my cheese grater, but you can use a colander if you wish. Give your berries a good shake, really get that dirt off. Okay. I really like this pan because it shows me what the litres are on the inside. Empty your berries in, and now we've got to just about cover the berries with some water. See how the berries are just floating? That's a good amount of water. want to do is just lightly simmer the berries on a low heat. This will take about half an hour. Okay, so when your berries have been going for about half an hour or so, what you can do is to release a bit of extra flavour, just press down lightly with a fork, just to release a little bit more of the juice. The berries will have changed colour and be a bit more orange now. They should look a bit like this. Okay. Right, what we need to do now is prepare our straining equipment. So we need a jug. If you're doing any more than this, you need a bigger jug than this. And you need some sort of gauze. I quite like to use this stocking. I find that's quite useful. Stretch your gauze or stocking over the opening of the jar or jug, and then what you need to do is get your berries and the juice into the jug. Try and get all your berries in the jug, not on the work surface. Once all your berries are in the jug, you need to leave it overnight. If you're in a bit of a rush, you can press it down, but the best thing is overnight, and then that really lets all the juices drain out of the berries. So we'll come back tomorrow, and then I'll show you the next bit. Okay, so our berries have been draining overnight, and now what we need to do is add the sugar and boil our jam. So what we need to do first is remove the berries. You might want to squeeze them out a bit. This can be quite messy. And then we can discard the berries. Just short of 1/4 litre. So what we need to do now is match the amount of litres to the kilos of sugar. So I'm going to put my saucepan on here and set it to 0. Okay, it's exactly 200 ml, so let's measure out 200 grams of sugar. There we go. Okay, now we can add our juice. Okay, once again we're going to have it on a low heat, and we need to keep stirring it. It'll take a little while for the sugar to dissolve, so in the meantime we can get our jar ready. What we need to do is boil the kettle put some water in the jar and then maybe put it in the microwave for 30 seconds or so, just to warm the jar up. And that way, when we seal the jar, as the jelly cools, so will the jar and it'll seal it. Okay. As the sugar melts, we need to keep stirring. And what we're waiting for is it to bubble up. And then we can get rid of the scum that forms on the surface. Okay, here we go. Now we need to get rid of this. Keep stirring. And then some more will form. And then we get rid of it. And we keep this process going until we've got rid of all the scum. That's our jars ready. Make sure as you get them out of the microwave that you use a cloth, because the jars will be hot. Okay, there we are, it's ready. And the jam is pretty much ready as well. Okay, let's give that a go. And then we want to get the lid on as soon as possible, and then that will seal as it cools. And that's how you make Rowan berry jelly.